At midnight, in 11th century Japan, Lady Michiko sits up on her tatami mat and reaches for her writing brush. She is not suffering from insomnia. She is not anxious about tomorrow's court duties. She is following the most sophisticated sleep schedule in human history. While modern people struggle with sleep disorders, prescription medications, and 8-hour anxiety, the aristocrats of medieval Japan had mastered something we have completely forgotten. They understood that perfect sleep was not about lying unconscious for 8 straight hours. It was about working with your body's natural rhythms, not against them. The evidence is overwhelming. Archaeological excavations of Heian palaces reveal sleeping systems that modern ergonomic science is only now beginning to validate. Primary sources from court diaries describe nightly routines that would make contemporary sleep specialists envious. Most remarkably, these practices created not just better sleep, but better lives. Consider what Lady Michiko knows that you do not. She sleeps on a surface that provides perfect spinal alignment without pressure points. Her pillow maintains ideal neck curvature throughout the night. Her sleeping environment regulates temperature and humidity naturally. She falls asleep in complete darkness that optimizes melatonin production. She wakes naturally at midnight, spends an hour in peaceful creativity, then returns to deep restorative sleep until dawn. She will wake tomorrow morning feeling more refreshed than most modern people feel after a full weekend of trying to catch up on sleep. This is not romantic nostalgia about the past. This is documented historical fact backed by modern scientific research. The sleeping practices of medieval Japan, particularly during the Heian period from 794 to 1185, represent perhaps the most effective approach to human rest in recorded history. The Heian aristocracy did not stumble into these practices by accident. They developed them through centuries of careful observation and refinement. They understood principles that sleep science has only recently rediscovered. They created an integrated system that addressed every factor affecting sleep quality, from the materials under their bodies to the thoughts in their minds. Modern sleep research validates their approach at every level. Studies confirm that firm sleeping surfaces improve spinal alignment and reduce back pain. Research shows that wooden neck supports can eliminate morning stiffness and headaches. Scientists have proven that natural darkness dramatically improves sleep quality. Meditation research demonstrates how mindfulness practices enhance rest and recovery. The Japanese knew all of this 1,000 years ago. They also understood something we have almost entirely lost: the concept of biphasic sleep. While we force ourselves into single 8-hour blocks and then wonder why we toss and turn, they embraced their body's natural desire to sleep in 2 phases. They had a first sleep, a peaceful midnight awakening, and a second sleep. This pattern, which historians have found in cultures around the world before electric lighting, may be the most natural human sleep rhythm. Lady Michiko's midnight poetry session was not a disruption of her rest. It was an essential part of it. During these quiet hours between her 2 sleep periods, she would write, meditate, or engage in gentle intimacy with her husband. Her mind was calm and creative. Her body was relaxed but alert. She experienced a type of peaceful consciousness that most modern people never encounter. When she returned to sleep, her rest was deeper and more restorative than anything we achieve through sleeping pills or sleep-tracking devices. In 1932, archaeologists carefully unwrapped what would prove to be one of the most significant discoveries in the history of human sleep technology. Preserved in the Shosoin Imperial Treasury was Emperor Shomu's 8th century sleeping mat, the Gosho Datami, intact after more than 1,000 years. What they found challenged every assumption about primitive medieval bedding and revealed engineering sophistication that modern mattress companies are still trying to replicate. The Gosho Datami measured exactly 95 by 48 inches and consisted of 7 distinct layers of woven rice straw compressed into a unified sleeping surface. But the true marvel was not its size or age. It was the precision of its construction and the advanced understanding of human physiology that its design revealed. Modern analysis of this ancient mattress shows that its makers understood principles of spinal support, pressure distribution, and temperature regulation that ergonomic science has only recently validated. The compressed rice straw core provided uniform firmness across the entire surface while maintaining enough flexibility to accommodate natural body curves. The woven rush grass covering offered moisture management and antimicrobial properties that kept the sleeping surface hygienic without chemical treatments. This was not primitive bedding. This was sophisticated bioengineering disguised as simple craftsmanship. Lady Michiko slept on tatami mats that followed the same construction principles as the imperial example, but were scaled to her social status and personal needs. Her sleeping surface consisted of 3 layers of tatami mats arranged to provide optimal support for her body weight and sleeping position. The bottom layer provided structural foundation, the middle layer added cushioning, and the top layer offered the smooth, breathable surface that contacted her body. Each individual tatami mat represented hours of skilled labor and deep knowledge of materials science. Construction began with selecting rice straw of the proper length, density, and moisture content. The straw was sorted, cleaned, and arranged in specific patterns that would optimize both strength and flexibility. Bundle by bundle, the straw was compressed using traditional tools that applied enormous pressure to compact roughly 40 centimeters of loose material into just 5 centimeters of dense, resilient matting. The compression process was critical to the mat's performance characteristics. Too little pressure would leave the surface soft and unstable, causing spinal misalignment and pressure points. Too much compression would create a surface so hard that comfort would be impossible. Japanese craftsmen developed techniques for achieving exactly the right density to provide optimal support while maintaining enough give to accommodate normal body contours. Modern sleep research has validated this approach through extensive testing of mattress firmness and its effects on sleep quality and spinal health. Studies consistently show that medium firm surfaces, rating between 5 and 7 on the standard firmness scale, provide the best combination of support and comfort for most sleepers. Tatami mats, when properly constructed, fall precisely within this optimal range. The surface covering of woven rush grass called igusa provided benefits that modern synthetic materials struggled to match. Rush grass has natural antimicrobial properties that prevent the growth of bacteria, mold, and dust mites without chemical treatments. Its cellular structure creates a network of tiny air pockets that provide insulation while allowing moisture to evaporate quickly. The result is a sleeping surface that stays cool in summer and warm in winter while remaining dry and hygienic year-round. Chemical analysis of traditional igusa reveals compounds that actively promote relaxation and better sleep. The subtle grass-like fragrance contains phytoncides, natural chemicals that research has shown can lower heart rate, reduce stress hormones, and improve overall sleep quality. What Japanese sleepers experienced as a pleasant, natural scent was actually a form of aromatherapy that enhanced their rest at the molecular level. The durability of traditional tatami construction is legendary and well documented. Properly maintained mats could remain functional for decades or even centuries. The tatami at Daitokuji Temple in Kyoto, installed in 1673, remained in use for over 300 years. This longevity was not accidental but resulted from construction techniques that actually improved the mat's properties over time as the materials settled and aged. Compare this to modern mattresses, which typically begin losing their supportive properties within a few years and require replacement every 7 to 10 years. The Japanese achieved superior durability through better understanding of material science and construction methods that worked with rather than against the natural properties of their materials. The flexibility of tatami-based sleeping systems provided advantages that fixed mattresses cannot match. Individual mats could be rearranged daily to distribute wear evenly and accommodate different sleeping arrangements. Additional mats could be added for extra comfort or removed for firmer support based on personal preference or health needs. Damaged or worn sections could be replaced without discarding the entire sleeping surface. This modular approach also allowed for sophisticated customization based on social status, body weight, age, and health conditions. Elderly nobles might use additional layers for extra cushioning, while younger people might prefer fewer layers for firmer support. Pregnant women could adjust their sleeping surface as their bodies changed, and people recovering from illness could modify their bedding to support healing. Lady Michiko's tatami mats were rotated and maintained according to strict schedules that ensured optimal performance throughout their useful life. Weekly airing in sunlight eliminated moisture and prevented microbial growth. Monthly repositioning distributed wear patterns evenly. Seasonal deep cleaning removed accumulated dust and refreshed the natural fragrances that promoted better sleep. This maintenance routine was not seen as burdensome, but as an essential element of sleep hygiene that contributed to overall health and well-being. The daily interaction with bedding materials created awareness of their condition and performance that allowed problems to be addressed before they affected sleep quality. The most revolutionary aspect of Japanese sleep surface technology was not the tatami mats themselves, but the wooden pillows that supported the head and neck. The takamakura, or high pillow, appears to modern eyes as an instrument of torture rather than a comfort device. Archaeological specimens show curved wooden blocks standing 7 to 18 centimeters high, topped with small cushions filled with buckwheat hulls or wheat chaff. To understand why these seemingly uncomfortable devices were preferred over soft pillows, we must examine what modern cervical spine research has revealed about optimal neck support during sleep. The human neck has a natural forward curve called the cervical lordosis that must be maintained during sleep to prevent pain and maintain proper spinal alignment. Soft pillows, which most modern people prefer, actually work against this natural curve by allowing the head to sink too far. This causes the neck to flatten or even reverse its natural arch, leading to muscle strain, compressed nerves, and disrupted sleep. The morning neck pain and stiffness that millions of people experience is largely the result of poor pillow support during the night. The Japanese wooden pillow solved this problem through elegant engineering. The curved wooden base supported the neck at exactly the right height to maintain its natural curve. The small cushion on top provided just enough padding to prevent discomfort while maintaining firm support. The overall design kept the head in proper alignment with the spine throughout the night. Museum collections contain takamakura specimens that demonstrate remarkable consistency in their dimensions and design principles. A typical example measures 22 centimeters in height and 9.5 centimeters in width, proportions that modern ergonomic research has shown to be optimal for average human neck anatomy. The curved base typically has a radius that matches the natural curve of the cervical spine. The materials used in takamakura construction were chosen for their specific properties rather than mere availability. Cedar and paulownia wood provided the right combination of strength, lightness, and resistance to moisture. Lacquer finishes protected the wood while allowing easy cleaning. The small cushions were filled with materials like buckwheat hulls that maintained their shape while providing limited give. Some takamakura included sophisticated features that enhanced their function. Hollow chambers could be filled with warming stones in winter or cooling materials in summer. Incense compartments, called makura koro, provided aromatherapy throughout the night. Adjustable components allowed fine-tuning of height and angle to accommodate individual anatomy and preferences. The makura koro, or incense pillow, represents one of the most advanced applications of aromatherapy in human history. Archaeological specimens show these devices were precisely engineered to release controlled amounts of fragrant smoke or vapor that would surround the sleeper's head without causing irritation or fire danger. The wooden chambers contained small amounts of powdered aromatic materials that would smolder slowly throughout the night, creating a gentle stream of sleep-promoting compounds. Modern analysis of traditional Japanese incense formulations reveals sophisticated understanding of plant chemistry and its effects on human physiology. The most common sleep blends contained combinations of sandalwood, aloeswood, clove, camphor, and chrysanthemum that research has now shown to have measurable sedative and anxiolytic properties. These were not random mixtures chosen for pleasant smell alone, but carefully balanced formulations designed to promote specific neurological responses. Sandalwood, called byakuden in Japanese, was perhaps the most prized ingredient in sleep incense formulations. Chemical analysis shows that sandalwood contains alpha-santalol and beta-santalol, compounds that modern research has demonstrated can reduce anxiety, lower heart rate, and improve sleep quality. Small amounts of powdered sandalwood placed in the Makura Koro would release these active compounds slowly throughout the night. The social aspects of Takamakura use reveal their importance beyond mere neck support. These pillows were often valuable possessions, decorated with intricate designs and passed down through generations. The phrase "sleeping with a high pillow" became synonymous with sleeping peacefully without worry, suggesting that proper neck support was associated with overall well-being and peace of mind. Modern attempts to recreate the benefits of wooden pillows have met with mixed success. Contemporary cervical support devices often incorporate similar principles but struggle to match the elegant simplicity and effectiveness of traditional Japanese designs. The key insight is that effective neck support requires firmness and precision rather than softness and adaptability. The integration of tatami sleeping surfaces with wooden pillows created a sleep system that addressed the entire body's need for proper alignment and support. The firm, even surface of the tatami prevented spinal sagging, while the wooden pillow maintained cervical curve. Together, they provided the foundation for restorative sleep that allowed the body to recover and regenerate during rest periods. In the winter of 1008, Lady Murasaki Shikibu recorded a scene that reveals one of the most crucial secrets of medieval Japanese sleep mastery. She described how court ladies would carefully extinguish their oil lamps one by one as evening deepened, until only the faintest glow remained to guide their movements. What Murasaki could not have known was that this simple ritual was creating optimal conditions for sleep that modern science has spent decades trying to understand. The relationship between light and sleep that the Japanese mastered represents perhaps their most significant contribution to the science of human rest. While we struggle with light pollution, blue screens, and artificial illumination that disrupts our natural rhythms, the Heian aristocracy lived in harmony with darkness in ways that optimized every aspect of their sleep physiology. Consider the profound difference in light exposure between Lady Michiko's evening and yours. As sunset approached her palace quarters, the only sources of illumination were small oil lamps burning rice bran oil or rapeseed oil. These flames produced between 5 and 10 lumens of warm, yellow spectrum light. Compare this to your evening routine, surrounded by LED bulbs producing 800 to 1500 lumens of blue-white light, computer screens, television displays, and smartphone illumination. Modern research has revealed exactly why this difference mattered so much. Blue spectrum light, which dominates our evening environments, suppresses melatonin production for up to 3 hours after exposure. Melatonin, the hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycles, begins production in darkness and reaches peak levels during the deepest phases of sleep. Lady Michiko's gentle transition from natural sunlight to warm oil lamp glow to near-complete darkness allowed this crucial hormone to follow its optimal production schedule. The Japanese understanding of darkness went far beyond simply turning off lights. Their architecture was specifically designed to create and control darkness in sophisticated ways. Palace buildings used thick wooden shutters called shitomi that could be adjusted to block varying amounts of light. During summer evenings, these shutters might be partially opened to allow cooling breezes while still maintaining appropriate darkness for sleep. In winter, they would be tightly closed to retain warmth while ensuring complete light control. Interior spaces utilized multiple layers of light filtration. Sudare bamboo blinds provided the first level of light reduction. These finely woven screens diffused bright daylight during the day and could be adjusted throughout the evening to gradually reduce illumination. Behind these, silk or hemp curtains offered additional control over both light and privacy. The most sophisticated light management occurred within the sleeping areas themselves. The Chodai curtained sleeping platforms created micro-environments of controlled darkness even within larger shared spaces. These fabric enclosures, suspended from wooden frames, could be adjusted to create anything from gentle twilight to complete blackness, depending on the occupant's needs and the external conditions. Archaeological evidence from Heian Palace excavations reveals how systematically this light control was implemented. Foundation remains show the precise positioning of shutters, screens, and curtain supports. These were not random architectural elements but carefully planned systems for managing the light environment throughout the daily cycle. The seasonal variations in Japanese daylight created unique challenges that the Heian court addressed with remarkable sophistication. During summer months, when daylight could extend well past modern bedtimes, they developed techniques for creating artificial night within their living spaces. Heavy curtains made from multiple layers of silk could block even the bright summer evening sun. Rooms were specifically oriented and designed to minimize light penetration during the extended bright hours. Winter presented different challenges, with short days and long nights requiring careful balance between providing adequate light for evening activities and maintaining proper darkness for sleep. The Japanese solution involved portable lighting that could be precisely controlled and positioned. Small oil lamps could be moved closer for reading or writing, then relocated or extinguished to create optimal sleeping darkness. The quality of their artificial light sources also provided advantages that we have lost. Oil lamps and candles produce light primarily in the red and yellow portions of the spectrum, which have minimal impact on melatonin production. This warm light actually supports the natural progression towards sleep rather than interfering with it. Modern energy-efficient lighting, while superior in many ways, tends to be rich in the blue wavelengths that most effectively disrupt sleep hormones. Lady Michiko's evening light exposure followed a pattern that would be considered optimal by contemporary sleep specialists. As the sun set, she would experience the natural reduction in bright, full-spectrum light that signals the brain to begin melatonin production. Her evening activities would occur under warm, dim illumination that supported this hormonal shift. By the time she lay down to sleep, her environment would be dark enough to allow maximum melatonin production throughout the night. The Japanese also understood the importance of morning light exposure in maintaining healthy sleep cycles. Their architecture was designed to allow controlled exposure to natural sunlight upon waking. Shoji paper screens could be adjusted to provide gentle morning illumination that helped reset the circadian clock for the next cycle. This morning light exposure, particularly during the first hour after waking, is now known to be crucial for maintaining proper sleep-wake timing. The contrast with modern light exposure patterns is striking and concerning. Many people receive minimal natural light during the day due to indoor lifestyles, then expose themselves to bright artificial light well into the evening hours. This pattern essentially reverses the natural light cycle that our bodies evolved to follow. We are dim when we should be bright and bright when we should be dim. The health consequences of this disrupted light exposure are becoming increasingly clear through modern research. Chronic exposure to artificial light during evening hours has been linked to delayed sleep onset, reduced sleep quality, increased risk of depression, and various metabolic disorders. Shift workers, who experience the most extreme light schedule disruptions, show dramatically higher rates of sleep disorders and related health problems. At the hour of the rat, when most of the palace slept in deep first sleep, Lady Michiko opened her eyes naturally and sat up on her tatami mat. She was not experiencing insomnia or anxiety. She was entering the most sophisticated state of consciousness that medieval Japanese culture had developed, the liminal space between sleeping and waking, where the mind could access creativity, spirituality, and profound rest simultaneously. This midnight awakening was not a disruption to be overcome, but a gateway to be embraced. Lady Michiko reached for her writing brush and, in the gentle darkness broken only by distant oil lamps, began composing poetry that would flow from a mind both relaxed and alert. This was the psychological and spiritual dimension of Japanese sleep mastery, perhaps the most advanced aspect of their approach to human rest. The Buddhist influence on Japanese sleep culture created understanding of consciousness and rest that Western psychology is only beginning to appreciate. Rather than viewing sleep as simply the absence of waking consciousness, Buddhist philosophy recognized multiple states of awareness that could be cultivated and refined to support both spiritual development and physical restoration. The practice of Zazen, seated meditation, provided the foundation for this sophisticated approach to consciousness and rest. Buddhist monks had discovered through centuries of experimentation that the boundary between meditation and sleep was not absolute but fluid, and that skilled practitioners could navigate these states to achieve restoration that exceeded what either meditation or sleep could provide alone. Archaeological evidence from temple complexes reveals the physical infrastructure that supported this integration of spiritual practice and sleep. Meditation halls were designed with spaces that could transition seamlessly from seated practice to reclining rest. Sleeping quarters in monasteries incorporated elements that supported both individual rest and continued spiritual practice during night hours. The timing patterns found in Buddhist schedules created optimal conditions for the biphasic sleep that characterized medieval Japanese rest. Monks would typically retire for first sleep around sunset, wake naturally for midnight meditation and study, then return to sleep until dawn. This pattern aligned perfectly with natural circadian rhythms while providing opportunities for spiritual practice during the quietest hours of the night. Lady Michiko's midnight awakening followed principles derived from Buddhist understanding but adapted for court life. Rather than formal meditation, she would engage in gentle activities that maintained the peaceful awareness that Buddhist practice cultivated: poetry composition, quiet contemplation, or reading of spiritual texts by minimal lamplight. The psychological state achieved during these midnight hours was unique and profoundly restorative. Modern neuroscience has identified similar states in experienced meditators, characterized by brainwave patterns that combine the relaxation of deep sleep with the awareness of wakeful consciousness. This state appears to provide exceptional recovery benefits while supporting creativity and insight. The Japanese understanding of worry and anxiety as obstacles to quality sleep led to sophisticated psychological techniques for managing mental activity during rest periods. Buddhist philosophy provided frameworks for relating to thoughts and emotions that prevented the rumination and stress that commonly interfere with sleep in modern populations. The concept of mono-no-aware, the bittersweet awareness of the impermanence of all things, created psychological acceptance that reduced anxiety about daily concerns and future uncertainties. This philosophical perspective helped people release the mental tension that often prevents peaceful sleep, allowing them to rest deeply while maintaining appropriate concern for their responsibilities. Mindfulness practices derived from Buddhist meditation provided tools for managing the transition between waking and sleeping consciousness. Rather than struggling against sleeplessness or forcing sleep through willpower, practitioners learned to observe their mental states with detached awareness that naturally facilitated rest. The Japanese approach to dreams and their significance created positive associations with sleep that enhanced rather than interfered with rest quality. Dreams were viewed as potentially meaningful experiences that could provide guidance, creativity, or spiritual insight rather than random neural activity to be ignored or feared. This positive relationship with dreaming reduced the anxiety about sleep content that can interfere with rest quality. People who expect their dreams to be meaningful and potentially beneficial are more likely to sleep peacefully than those who fear nightmares or meaningless mental chaos during sleep. The Japanese approach to handling sleep difficulties when they occurred reflected sophisticated understanding of the psychological factors that can either resolve or perpetuate sleep problems. Rather than becoming anxious about wakefulness, practitioners were taught to use periods of sleeplessness as opportunities for spiritual practice and personal reflection. This accepting attitude towards sleep variation prevented the performance anxiety about sleep that often makes sleep problems worse. By viewing occasional wakefulness as normal and potentially beneficial rather than pathological, people avoided the stress responses that can perpetuate insomnia and other sleep disorders. Modern research into meditation and sleep has validated many principles that Japanese Buddhist practice developed through empirical observation. Studies consistently show that meditation practice improves sleep quality, reduces sleep latency, and enhances the restorative benefits of rest. The mechanisms involve both direct neurological effects and indirect benefits through stress reduction and improved emotional regulation. When Lady Michiko finished her final meal of the day at the hour of the monkey, roughly 4 p.m. by modern reckoning, she was not simply following court protocol. She was participating in a sophisticated understanding of how meal timing affects sleep quality that modern chronobiology has spent decades rediscovering. The Japanese approach to nutrition and sleep represents one of the most advanced applications of what we now call circadian medicine practiced centuries before scientists understood the molecular mechanisms involved. The relationship between food and sleep that medieval Japanese culture developed was both practical and profound. Unlike modern eating patterns that often place the largest meal close to bedtime, Heian court dining followed rhythms that optimized digestion, energy levels, and sleep quality throughout the daily cycle. This was not accidental, but reflected deep understanding of how the body processes food and prepares for rest. Archaeological evidence from palace kitchen excavations reveals the sophisticated meal timing systems that supported healthy sleep. Cooking hearths show usage patterns that indicate food preparation occurred primarily during morning and early afternoon hours. Storage facilities were designed to preserve prepared foods that could be consumed without additional cooking during evening hours when fires were reduced to prevent sleep disruption. The daily meal pattern followed a structure that modern research has shown to be optimal for sleep quality. The main meal, called hirugohan, was consumed during peak daylight hours when digestive capacity was highest. A lighter afternoon meal provided sustained energy through evening activities. By sunset, food consumption typically ended, allowing several hours for complete digestion before sleep. This timing pattern ensured that the body's digestive processes would not interfere with sleep preparation and maintenance. Modern studies consistently show that eating within 3 hours of bedtime significantly impairs sleep quality by elevating core body temperature, stimulating metabolic processes, and potentially causing gastroesophageal reflux that can disrupt rest. The composition of Japanese court meals was equally sophisticated in supporting healthy sleep. Primary sources describe dining that emphasized foods we now know contain compounds that promote relaxation and support circadian rhythm regulation. Rice, the staple grain, provided complex carbohydrates that support serotonin production, a neurotransmitter essential for sleep initiation. Fish, particularly fatty varieties from coastal waters, provided omega-3 fatty acids that modern research has linked to improved sleep quality and duration. Archaeological analysis of kitchen refuse from palace sites confirms regular consumption of sardines, mackerel, and salmon, all rich in DHA and EPA compounds that support healthy sleep architecture. Seasonal vegetables and herbs included many species that contained natural compounds promoting relaxation and sleep. Chrysanthemum leaves used in soups and teas contain mild sedative compounds. Perilla, a relative of basil, provided both flavoring and anxiety-reducing effects. Kudzu root, prepared in various dishes, contains isoflavones that can promote relaxation. The Japanese understanding of how different foods affected energy and sleep was remarkably accurate, given their lack of modern nutritional science. They classified foods according to principles derived from traditional Chinese medicine, but refined through careful observation of their effects on daily rhythms and sleep quality. Warming foods like ginger, garlic, and certain spices were primarily consumed during morning and midday meals when their energizing effects would support daily activities. Cooling foods like cucumber, melon, and leafy greens were favored for afternoon consumption when their calming properties would begin preparing the body for evening rest. Protein sources were carefully selected and timed to support sleep without causing digestive burden. Fish and soy products, both easier to digest than heavy meats, provided amino acids necessary for neurotransmitter production, while avoiding the metabolic stress that could interfere with sleep preparation. The preparation methods used in Japanese court cuisine also supported healthy sleep through their effects on nutrient availability and digestive requirements. Steaming, boiling, and other gentle cooking techniques preserved nutrients while making foods easier to digest. Fermentation processes created foods rich in beneficial compounds while reducing digestive burden. Fermented soy products like miso and early forms of natto provided protein in easily digestible forms while contributing compounds that supported gut health and neurotransmitter production. Modern research has revealed that gut bacteria play crucial roles in sleep regulation through their effects on serotonin and other sleep-related chemicals. The timing of specific nutrients was also carefully managed to support optimal sleep. Foods rich in tryptophan, the amino acid precursor to serotonin, and melatonin were often included in afternoon meals where they could support evening neurotransmitter production. Complex carbohydrates consumed during the day provided sustained energy while supporting evening serotonin synthesis. The Japanese approach to beverages also supported healthy sleep through careful attention to timing and composition. Tea consumption followed patterns that provided morning stimulation while avoiding evening interference with sleep. The types of tea consumed changed throughout the day, with more stimulating varieties in the morning and calming herbal preparations in the evening. Alcohol consumption, while present in court culture, was carefully managed to avoid sleep disruption. Sake was typically consumed during social events that ended well before bedtime, allowing time for metabolism before sleep. The Japanese understanding of alcohol's biphasic effects on sleep, initially sedating but later disruptive, led to consumption patterns that maximized social benefits while minimizing sleep interference. Evening beverage choices emphasized preparations that would support sleep preparation. Warm water, sometimes flavored with mild herbs, provided hydration without stimulation. Chrysanthemum tea offered gentle calming effects. Kelp broths provided minerals that supported relaxation while avoiding caffeine or other stimulating compounds. Modern research into chrononutrition has validated many principles that Japanese court culture developed through empirical observation. Studies show that meal timing significantly affects circadian rhythm regulation and sleep quality. The composition of meals influences neurotransmitter production and sleep architecture. Individual nutrients can either support or interfere with sleep depending on when and how they are consumed. Modern Western culture prizes bedroom privacy above almost everything else. We build homes with separate bedrooms for every family member, invest in soundproofing to prevent disturbance, and consider sharing sleeping space with others as a sign of poverty or primitive living conditions. The medieval Japanese took the opposite approach, and archaeological evidence suggests their communal sleeping arrangements may have produced superior sleep quality and psychological well-being. The contrast is immediately apparent when examining Heian palace architecture. Where we expect to find individual bedrooms, excavations reveal vast open halls designed for shared sleeping. The main Shinden building of a typical aristocratic estate measured approximately 21 by 15 meters, roughly the size of a modern six-bedroom house. Yet this entire space contained only one small private chamber, the Nurigome, measuring just 6 by 6 meters and reserved for the highest-ranking household member. Everyone else slept together in the main hall. Lady Michiko shared her sleeping space with anywhere from 5 to 20 other court ladies, depending on the season and current court activities. These women were not simply tolerating crowded conditions due to limited resources. Archaeological evidence shows that wealthy nobles had the means to build private sleeping quarters, but deliberately chose communal arrangements instead. The reason becomes clear when we examine the sophisticated systems they developed for managing shared sleep spaces. Rather than chaotic dormitory-style arrangements, Japanese communal sleep followed strict hierarchical patterns that maximized both social harmony and sleep quality. The sleeping platform arrangements found in palace excavations reveal careful attention to status, comfort, and practical considerations. The highest-ranking person occupied the most favorable position, typically closest to the central heat source and farthest from doors or high-traffic areas. Lower-ranking individuals were positioned in order of precedence, creating a social map that everyone understood and respected. But this hierarchy served functional as well as social purposes. The positioning system ensured that the most important household members received optimal sleeping conditions while still allowing everyone to benefit from shared warmth and security. During cold winter nights, the body heat generated by multiple sleepers could maintain comfortable temperatures throughout the space without requiring dangerous indoor fires or excessive fuel consumption. Primary sources reveal how carefully these arrangements were managed. Lady Murasaki's diary describes the precise protocol for arranging bedding in shared spaces. Junior attendants would first lay out the tatami mats for senior members, ensuring proper spacing and orientation. Then they would position their own bedding in the remaining areas, always maintaining appropriate distances that showed respect while allowing efficient use of space. The bedding itself was designed to work within these communal systems. Individual sleeping areas were defined by portable tatami mats that could be arranged and rearranged as needed. Unlike permanent beds that fix sleeping locations, this flexible system allowed daily adjustments based on who was present, weather conditions, and social requirements. Kicho curtain screens provided privacy within the shared space without completely isolating individuals. These silk or hemp panels, suspended from wooden frames, could create semi-private alcoves while maintaining the benefits of shared warmth and security. The screens were designed to muffle sound and provide visual privacy while still allowing air circulation and awareness of the larger group. The psychological benefits of these arrangements become apparent when compared to modern sleep research on social isolation and anxiety. Studies consistently show that people who report stronger social connections experience better sleep quality, while social isolation is associated with increased sleep disturbances and longer sleep latency. The Japanese communal sleeping system provided constant reassurance of social connection and support. Consider the security advantages that communal sleeping provided in an era before modern police protection or alarm systems. With multiple people sharing sleeping space, there was always someone likely to wake if danger threatened. Historical accounts describe how households were alerted to fires, intruders, or medical emergencies by members who noticed problems during the night. This natural early warning system allowed everyone to sleep more deeply because vigilance was shared rather than individual. The social dynamics of shared sleeping also created accountability systems that promoted good sleep hygiene. Individuals who snored excessively, moved restlessly, or maintained poor personal cleanliness faced immediate social pressure to address these issues. While this might seem intrusive by modern standards, it effectively prevented the sleep-disrupting behaviors that plague many modern bedrooms. Child-rearing practices were integrated into the communal sleeping system in ways that modern research suggests may have been optimal for child development. Young children slept with their mothers or nurses, receiving the constant comfort and security that promotes healthy attachment. As children matured, they gradually transitioned to sleeping positions that reflected their growing status and independence while maintaining family connections. Modern attachment theory and sleep research support the benefits of this approach. Children who sleep near caregivers during early years show better emotional regulation and more secure attachment patterns. The gradual transition to increased independence that Japanese families practiced appears to support healthy psychological development better than the abrupt transition to isolated sleeping that many modern families impose. Recent research on the health effects of social isolation has highlighted the costs of our individualistic sleeping arrangements. People who sleep alone report higher rates of insomnia, anxiety, and depression. They also show elevated stress hormone levels and compromised immune function compared to those who share sleeping space with trusted others. The Japanese model suggests that we may have sacrificed significant health and social benefits in our pursuit of bedroom privacy. While complete return to communal sleeping is neither practical nor desirable for most modern families, we might benefit from reconsidering some aspects of shared sleep arrangements. The contrast with modern sleep habits is striking and sobering. We sleep on mattresses that often misalign our spines and trap heat. We use pillows that are too soft or too thick for proper neck support. We expose ourselves to artificial light that disrupts our natural sleep hormones. We try to force sleep into rigid schedules that ignore our biological rhythms. We rely on pharmaceutical aids that treat symptoms rather than addressing root causes. Then we wonder why we wake up tired. The Japanese approach was preventive rather than reactive. Instead of trying to fix sleep problems after they developed, they created conditions where sleep problems simply did not arise. Their methods were natural rather than artificial. Instead of using external devices or chemicals to force sleep, they worked with their body's inherent wisdom. Their system was also sustainable and economical. The materials for their sleeping arrangements grew in their rice fields and reed marshes. Their techniques required no technology beyond basic craftsmanship. Their methods improved with age and experience rather than requiring constant updates or replacements. Perhaps most remarkably, their approach enhanced other aspects of life rather than conflicting with them. The Midnight Awakening period fostered creativity and intimacy. The firm's sleeping surface improved posture and physical health. The meditative practices developed mental clarity and emotional balance. Good sleep supported everything else they wanted to accomplish. This comprehensive integration is what we have lost in our modern approach to sleep. We treat rest as separate from the rest of our lives, something to be optimized in isolation rather than woven into a coherent way of living. We focus on individual components rather than understanding how everything works together. The path forward requires integration rather than replacement, adaptation rather than imitation. We need not sleep on tatami mats or use wooden pillows to benefit from the principles that made them effective. We need not abandon electric lighting to create better darkness management for sleep. We need not adopt medieval meal schedules to improve our nutritional support for rest. But we must understand and apply the underlying principles that made Japanese sleep practices so effective. Creating comprehensive systems that support natural biological processes rather than fighting against them, integrating sleep optimization with daily life rather than treating it as a separate problem, and approaching rest with wisdom and patience rather than anxiety and force. The evidence is clear and compelling. Medieval Japanese sleep practices represent the pinnacle of human rest achievement. Their approach was sophisticated, effective, and based on sound principles that remain valid today. We have much to learn from their example, and much to gain from applying their wisdom to our modern sleep challenges. The question is not whether we can benefit from their knowledge, but whether we will choose to embrace the comprehensive approach to sleep optimization that their success demonstrates. Lady Michiko sleeps peacefully through history, her rest untroubled by the sleep disorders that plague modern civilization. Her example lights a path back to the quality sleep that should be every human being's birthright. The choice to follow that path is ours.